Hi, I'm Lori Dobson. Today is Wednesday, November 24th, 2021. And I have been struggling, as many people have, with what's going on with how families decide to do our holidays. And in my case, I haven't asked, but I expect that my mom is going to be with my sisters, two sisters and their families at her house, or my sisters next door. I have not been invited. I have been told that I would have to do a test to be able to be present. And even though all the data is coming out now that says the double vaccinated and the vaccinated are the ones getting sick, much more, country after country, state after state, the numbers are coming back and it's clear. But people are already convinced and not to be unconvinced, and that means they have to extend that kind of a thinking towards those who've made other decisions and other choices. And I am the eldest daughter of 4 daughters. One of us passed away, but 3 daughters now. I am the only one in my family with my boyfriend Bob who is not getting vaccinated. So we're facing a Thanksgiving alone. We are going to be on an island here, and in our house with a chicken, and try to think fondly of the times when we were included. It's not a happy prospect. It's the experience of exclusion. It's not just that it hurts and is painful, because these are people who, when we were all under lockdown, that was different. But now it's just this policy of exclusivity, and some members of the family are allowed and some aren't. And that may have been a valid thing before we knew that it makes no difference. But now we know, now we understand. And the people that are likely to pass on something to my mother could easily be the ones coming to the table tomorrow. And that's another reason why we can't go, even if we were invited, because we would have been the ones blamed for anyone getting sick. So we're not coming, I guess. That's what I am assuming today. And I haven't really known how to handle this with family. I hadn't talked to my sisters since one of my sisters just came out and told me she thought I was evil for my choices, making my choices, and this was unprovoked. But I have no response to that. I don't see how anyone can respond to that, so I haven't. Come to find out, my mom writes me and says that so she's thinking we wouldn't be together the first time. She was really tearful, but then she thought of a few other times that we hadn't been together because I was away down in St. Thomas, and so she felt a bit better. Then she talks about her failings as a parent. She feels bad, but she didn't have the 25 extra years with her mother that she and I have had, so we've had a chance to prove our love to each other. And you've traveled. She's talking about how I've traveled. Maybe I could write about it. Some little stuff about, maybe I can just turn this whole thing into a written something or other. I don't know. Maybe she thinks I'll get back at her for all of this. And I have to say, it hurts so much that I would like to try to talk about Thanksgiving and how it is painful to others. And in fact, I did write something on my Facebook page, so maybe my sister shared that with my mother already. So I don't know, that I don't want to contribute to this division, but I don't want to just capitulate and be, responseless, just be mute in the face of this family tyranny. How else can I see it? How else can we look at what's going on but a form of tyranny and a family, a dividing point in our family, my mom's always urged us to stay together. The sisters have to stay together. But she's not been as vigorous about this because my youngest sister has a very powerful hold on her. She lives right next door, and she's getting older, and she's dependent on her. So anything my sister decides is going to happen, most likely. And that same sister has just called me evil. So there's not much room there for any talk or dialogue. It's just become an opportunity for hatred for her, and bewilderment on my part. But it's time for me to stop being bewildered and to focus on what I should do. So this letter that my mom wrote me, I love Mom. I just said, "Dear Mom, sorry to hear about Tim." It's my sister's husband. "But of course, I am no longer considered part of my family, so why would anyone care to tell me? You can justify your reasons for excluding us at your table so you can feel better. You can say it doesn't matter. And maybe to you it doesn't so much. Just understand that we will be in our house alone with no family, while you will be surrounded with mutual support and approval with those same members of my family who are apparently happy that we will not be there. If that's good enough for you, that's all you need to tell me." And then I wrote, "Just don't think that love has anything to do with that choice. We are not infected with anything. The data no longer supports the false idea that we are more dangerous to you. In country after country and state after state, the ones getting sick and spreading illness are the double vaccinated. You have been told to fear us, and you are following orders. The time to protest this treatment of me would have been earlier. Now you can tell yourself that you have no power, but truthfully, you already gave it up to my sisters. Just know that the ball you did not stop rolling will only grow. Pretty soon you will come to believe that I deserve this treatment. You will punish me with the guilt you feel for shunning me. Your TV will encourage you to do this, as well as your leader, Dr. Fauci, who I have heard is encouraging people to take these actions now. You have helped to perpetuate this by not opposing how we are treated. I am sorry you will not defend our right to be included in the family. It is not going to change. This has become a permanent way people are treating each other. You have thrown us under the bus. I don't see any change happening, and I don't see love in that picture. The same love my mom wants me to believe she feels for me. She's not showing me. And there is a part of me, the good girl thing, that feels guilty for saying or even thinking that my mother doesn't love me, because of course my mother loves me. We believe our mothers love us, and they say that they do. But love is in the action. It is in standing up and taking a stand for people, for what you believe in. And maybe my mom has tried and just doesn't have any power, but it's a power she forfeited, and many, many decisions have led to this point where I'm being treated as a second-class citizen, because I've always exercised my right to think for myself and to be free. There's a book I've got here, Moral Literacy, How to Do the Right Thing by Colin McGinn, and it says, "Let me not beat about the bush about my position on this question. I believe strongly that freedom of expression is a basic and deeply important right, that its suppression is both morally wrong and socially disastrous, and that we must do what lies in our power to protect it." On this page, it says, "Democracy and free speech are deeply connected values, which is why the suppression of free speech is a sure sign of dictatorship of one kind or another. Free speech is the engine of social improvement, and suppressing it is a recipe for stagnation and worse. And remember, this holds as much for families as for superpowers." So in my family, I'm not allowed the free speech that my dad was in the military, fighting in a war, going twice, doing terrible things to defend, supposedly. That's what we were told. The military was there to protect ourselves, to protect our country and our country's laws and our country's foundation on the Declaration of Independence, which supported us in fighting the tyranny and the restrictions and the imposition of of unfair taxes and laws and deprivations. And we decided to fight that in our country. All we had to do was maintain it. Ben Franklin said, if you choose security over freedom, you don't deserve either. And so I have to say that we are witnessing that in our country. I'm seeing that in this Tory Thanksgiving tradition that my family's going to be partaking in, and they'll have a nice time. They'll cook food. They'll have a lovely time. They'll say a few things about us deserving this, and they'll be fine. They'll be content. And then next time it'll get worse, and we will have more of a full-blown apartheid, and then they'll say, how did that happen? How did it happen that those family members that we didn't include last year for dinner are now taken away from somewhere for their own good, or just disappeared, or punished in other ways, not allowed, things similar to what's going on in Austria and in Australia, complete lockdowns, that we would be considered as if we deserved those things. And that's all that can be said. If you don't fight for somebody else's rights, you have to try to make yourself feel better for not doing that. And punishing them is a great way to do that. So the media is going to help people, Fauci, everybody's going to help people feel less guilty. But this is the Thanksgiving that counts. This is the one that matters. This is the first time we've been asked to do this apartheid, this dividing of family. The first time. But we can't justify it for being anything else. It doesn't matter what the authorities say. They've already been proven to be hopelessly corrupt. If anybody's paying attention, anybody could see that. Anybody could see that Fauci's gained through his patents, through gain of function in Wuhan and developing this in our country. It's all there. Agenda 201 predicted this whole vaccine scenario and how it would roll out. We're told already that the Great Reset will deprive us of everything, but we'll be happy, and that's happening at the same time. And all these lockdown extremist measures, they will target the people that are independent and think for themselves, the intellectuals, those who have a strong core identity, who are less inclined to be followers and compliant, such as myself, those who have run for office or protested or done activism or have participated in groups that endorse freedom and stand for justice. And then the lies that get spread don't have to have any kind of validity or integrity behind them. If someone on Common Dreams, which is a web thing that is in Portland, Maine, very liberal, decides that as one of the recent articles said, that it's time to call this a tyranny and fascism being taken on by the Republicans. And it included Kyle Rittenhouse, referred to the murders, and ignored the rule of law that took place. Ignored that. And this will just go on, and this slandering and malicious treatment of people who are defending their countries, it can be argued, and I believe it's a successful argument. People may defend their country in ways others don't appreciate or approve of, but we also don't appreciate the slander and the maligning of people who have chosen a different way to express their bodily autonomy. We should allow freedom of expression, freedom of choice, and freedom to have our own way of looking at the world, our own perspective. There is no other way to say that you support our country. You can't say that those are people are causing tyranny when they're working within the judicial system. And the judge that they're calling a racist, the jury decided that verdict. He allowed it to continue. And justice was done there. And bringing it up again and trying to sow division at a time when everybody's already as divided as humanly possible is not a good thing. It's not a healthy thing. It's just a way to make money for the media and their backers. And It's time to turn off that TV and talk about what we're doing. It's time to talk about and maybe read the Declaration of Independence and to support those. Not the Tories that supported King George and were proven to be traitorous to our country with their white chimneys with the black caps, but those who defended our country, who made it our own. Those are the values of our country. That's what we were founded on. And those constitutional privileges are ours as a result. And we've fought many, many wars. It's been endorsed and supported in court rulings based on the human foundation of human rights in the Nuremberg Code and other places that have affirmed the right of our citizens to act out of conscience and their own choice. And this time is unique because those very things that we have always had are being ripped from us. This would have been the Thanksgiving to discuss it. This is the Thanksgiving. Nobody wants to have that discussion if they're going to be challenged in their viewpoints on what they're doing. I, on the other hand, and many people who feel excluded from the tables that others are at, would relish the chance to have a debate and a discussion and to bring in the data, 2 years now that we have, to bring everybody up to speed, to discuss these things and to understand the best way forward for all of us. Otherwise, this is just building to a civil war. And if we think it's bad now, wait till next year. Wait till next year when the hatred will have had a year to fester, and family members won't be treated as family at all. This is one big milestone. This is a big marker. Thanksgiving, then Christmas, and then everything else, and then just distance. There's been distance, but this is a deliberate distancing. This is putting a line in the sand right down the table. Actually, it's taking the whole table. I'm not there at all. I can't be there at all because I would supposedly give COVID to my family when I had it 2 years ago. Everybody knows I had it. I have natural immunity. I could treat I could take ivermectin, which has been proven to take care of this if I did, but I have no signs, no symptoms, neither does Bob. We're not suffering under the kinds of things that I see my family suffering under. Difficulties. I see difficulties, and I can trace those to the vaccine adverse events reporting. Those kinds of things that my family has said are happening to them, that have shared with me, but they don't believe it's coming from, or else they don't want to believe that it's coming from the vaccines. And I'm an EMT. I know I know the lay of the land. I can see what certain things are, reactions to a drug, a toxic drug. You can see this. You can. And you can read. But you'd have to look, and you'd have to listen to those that don't agree. So it's time for those dialogues. It's time to appreciate and respect differences without berating people and ranting and hating. And as long as we believe that we're in the right, those others are in the wrong, then we'll just decide we can choose for them. And that's called a dictatorship. When you choose for other people, you deny them their freedom. You're a tyrant. And this is a Thanksgiving tyranny. Anyone not allowing anyone at their table who is not manifesting sickness, symptoms of sickness, temperature, cough, pain, pallor, discomfort, visibly ill, visibly showing signs of a viral infection in their sinuses or in their mouth, in their chest. Those are symptoms of an illness. There's also vascular symptoms of an illness. But if someone has no symptoms, they're allowed into hospitals, they're allowed into clinics, but not at the Thanksgiving table. Got to protect grandma. What are we protecting her from? Those who might have a claim on her love as her own children? Is that the extent of this thing, that we have to grab for ourselves to the point where all others are out the door, under the bus? This is not love. This is not a decent example of family values. And I would not be at a table. I would not be at anybody's table that believed that way. So it's better that I'm not at your table. I'm sorry you've chosen the very things that make it impossible for me to be there, but you've done it with your own free will, your own choice. You can stand up for yourself. And if you do feel you're abused, if you're an elder that feels abused, you go to your nurse, your town nurse, or any kind of mental health authority go to your doctor. You talk about this. You talk to people in social services, you talk to friends, or you talk to friends who might point you to somebody else, but you don't put up with it. No matter how much you love those people, if they're abusing you. And this is not an example of abuse. This is called talking. This is sharing my viewpoint about myself and what I think about how I'm being treated. But I'm not saying anything about how you act. I'm not going to condemn you for it. I'm just very sad, Mom. I'm very sad that you've chosen not to stand up for me and have chosen not to let me be at your table. I don't come bearing grudges. I don't come bearing hate. I see people as having made bad decisions, but I've comported myself admirably in the past. Maybe you don't trust them. I could understand that. But is it them you're trying to protect, or is it yourself? You don't want to be at a table where there's fighting. I get that. So you're just going to take out the person that they are angry with because of my own personal choices. These are my choices. These are not anybody else's. This is what I choose for me. I choose to keep myself in a state of natural immunity without putting anything in that will affect my own immunity. And there is definite data showing that specific type of immune-provoking spike protein can actually interfere with the body going forward. I'm just taking care of who I am, and I have that right without feeling guilty about it, without feeling I have to even explain it. But I've done my research, so talk to me. Learn what you can do. Learn how to take care of yourself. Give me some credit. But you won't, because you'll keep your power in place. Because you just want to have it all kind of go the way it's going. Nothing will change, and others determine your future for you and your own choices. And that's the way you're living, and that's the way you're going to die. And you make your peace with that. I guess you make your peace. But I am your daughter. For the rest of this life that I live, the rest of the life that you live, you will be my mother. Nothing can change that. And this is such a shame. This is such a tragedy on so many levels. You're teaching something that's hurtful, and you're leaving a legacy of complicity. You're participating. These are the kind of things that the Germans did, the good Germans, but they knew what was happening in their neighborhoods. They knew when they saw Jews hurt and disappeared, but they were the dirty ones, so it was okay. So that's what you're doing. It's no different. It just seems to be. So look beyond the years that have gone by and look to what's similar about it and decide if that's what you want to be. You have a conscience. You can choose to act with conscience all through your life. I really would like to pray that you would have a change of heart instead of justifying this decision because your friends have, because of popular opinion, because of family pressure. You'll abandon yourself in what you know internally and what I've tried to represent in our relationship with each other. Honesty. The value of honesty. It's so important. So anyway, I guess this is where I sign off and say, bye. Till when? I don't know. But if I'm to be truthful, I can't just pretend you haven't done this. I can't pretend this doesn't really just devastate me, but it's your choice, and I respect your choice. You have to make your own choices, and you have. So that's it, and I'll live with it. Okay, I love you. Can't help it. Bye.